preached and taught on a portion of this lesson that we went through. We talked about what we talked about last Monday as we dealt. It was just on my heart with God providing a way for us to get back home. And that was the title, Going Home. It's time to go home. So this same process tonight we're going to pick up with 2 Samuel 13. And 39th verse we stopped on last time, and King David longed to go to Absalom, for he had been comforted concerning Amnon because he was dead. So this whole process comes that the widow, the play after has come. David has thought about his ways. Absalom is asked to come back to the kingdom, even though he is still a murderer. But please never forget, David is a murderer too. Maybe he didn't do it with his own physical hands to Bathsheba's husband, but he's still a murderer. And this is kind of the picture here. And he has to deal with a son that physically killed his brother, David's other son. So now we're going to pick up, it's 974 BC, and we're at Absalom returns to Jerusalem. David's heart wants to get him there, that whole process. We skipped that whole section that we dealt with on last time. Someone pick up 2 Samuel 14:24.
And the king said, let him return to his own house, but do not let him see my face. So Absalom returned to his own house, but did not see the king's face.
Absalom gets to come home, but what? He's living at home. He's living in Greensboro, and he was exiled in Geshur. He comes home to Greensboro, but now the king won't see him. That's tough. That's tough because I think King David, he's happy to have him back in the city, but he can't look at him because of the murder that took place. And I want you to keep that in mind, what this is actually doing to Absalom. Not being able to see your dad. Even though you did, and we see Absalom never did anything against David. Who did he do it against? His brother Amnon. That was his issue. And I'll be honest, I mean, that incestual relationship with Tamar, his sister, his blood sister, that's enough to drive, Old Testament things crazy. And I think some of us, if we were in the Old Testament, we probably kill somebody too. It's just, it's tough. But because of all these issues, David can't get past it. And so he says, you can come home, but you can't come over my house. You can't see me, you can't FaceTime me, you can't talk to me. You're just living in the city. I'll let you come back in the city. That's it. 2 Samuel 14:25. Someone read.
Now in all Israel there was no one who was praised as much as Absalom for his good look. From the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him.
Good look.
Now, to the men in the house, you notice all the ladies are like, So all the men are like, well, he ain't good looking at me. This is key. Scriptures are very specific here. They want us to know how good Absalom looks. Absalom is one of the good-looking sons.
Pretty boy.
He's a pretty boy. Right? He is a pretty boy. So much so, they said that from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. I mean, if he was walking around naked, you would go, oh, what a good-looking man. I mean, get your head out of the gutters. It's just, he looked good. He just looked good. Clean, everything was there. And it says there was no blemish. I believe all of us have some kind of blemishes, if you're photoshopped, corns on toes or whatever. Absalom had no blemishes. No skin issues, no acne, no bumps, no scrapes, no cuts, no ruddy skin, no hard skin. From the sole of his feet all the way to the top of his head, his skin was smooth. Everything was in place. When people looked at him, he truly looked like a prince. He truly looked like an up-and-coming king. And keep that in your mind. But God had reminded Samuel that man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord what? Yes, the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. God looks at the heart. And that is tough, especially in our American society. We look so much at the outward person. All our advertisement is about the outward person. We talked about it, photoshopping. Philip is in a media major, and they know how to do amazing things to people. We had a picture that we sent out. It was actually photoshopped. We actually put things in place. It was real people. We were real people, but we were able to move backgrounds, and it looked just like it was real. And I'm just like, wow. We look at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And you thinking how many people that look good on the outside, but their heart is terrible. Or some people that look bad on the outside, but they have beautiful hearts. Beautiful hearts. You know, they always say, well, she has a beautiful heart. That means she don't look good on the outside. That's what it is. She has a beautiful heart. But sometimes you get both. Sometimes you do get both. Look at this next scripture, 26. Someone read, please. 26.
When he cut the hair of his head, at the end of every year he cut it because it was heavy on him. When he cut it, he weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels according to the king's standard.
Not only was he without blemish, his skin was smooth, everything was in place, he was blessed with a crown, hair, that grew every year like nobody's business. It would get so heavy on him, he would have to cut it. And because it was so numerous, he would actually weigh his hair. He was the prince, he was the king's son. His hair was important. And when he weighed that, someone read that next part.
That is about 5 pounds or about 2.3 kilograms.
5 pounds. He would do this every year. 5 pounds of hair. I've actually got some friends and associates, their hair grows like that. Their hair all over, they're like bears. It's just, their hair just grows profusely like that. And this was Absalom. His hair was so heavy after a year, they would cut it off and it would be 5 pounds of hair. Absalom had it going on. Has the hair, has the skin, everything is going his way except for he's a murderer. And his daddy won't see him. Look at this next part, 2 Samuel 14:27. Someone read it.
To Absalom were born 3 sons and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. She was a woman of beautiful appearance.
Now this really, I was studying this and I'm like, okay, I just preached and we taught on Tamar and Absalom's like, Tamar, what do you mean his daughter? Was Tamar his daughter and we got it mixed up? But no, there are 2 Tamars. Go ahead and read that first part, please. Sister Adrian.
Tamar, daughter of Absalom, date palm tree. The only daughter of King David's son Absalom.
Okay, so he has a daughter, an only daughter, but she is the second Tamar. All right, so we dealt with the Tamar and Amnon. Absalom killed Amnon because he had an ancestral relationship with the auntie. And so when Absalom has a child, a daughter, he names her Tamar. What does this tell you about Absalom?
He still wanted to take
This is key. He loved his sister. He loved his sister so much to name his only daughter Tamar. An obsession. Do you feel it now? Does it make sense why he murders Amnon? Why this was his life. His sister was his life so much that when he has children, he's willing to marry her. And that Tamar means date palm or palm tree. A beauty, just her length, height, that whole picture of who Tamar is. Go ahead and read that next part of the commentary.
She may have been named after her aunt, Absalom's sister Tamar, whose beauty was noted earlier in 2 Samuel 13:1. The comment on her beauty follows the narrator's hyperbolic statement that her father Absalom was the most handsome man in Israel. 2 Samuel 14:25. The Greek Septuagint translation expands on 2 Samuel 14:27 and states that Tamar married Solomon's son, Rehoboam. Wait, she married, okay, never mind. And bore him a son named Abiah. The Lexham Bible Dictionary.
This is important, and we're gonna dig deep. I don't know how far we're gonna get tonight, but we're gonna start to go through some things that maybe you just didn't think about. You read through it, and I've read this over and over again, and I just start asking questions I had never asked before. First of all, who was this second Tamar? Because I just assumed when I read it real quick, so often through the years, it was the same Tamar, and didn't even question it. But I was like, oh, he has a daughter, and he named her after the aunt Tamar. And then I began to look at, even as Tamar, as you look in other texts, we find out that the daughter of Absalom, Tamar, she later marries Solomon's son, Rehoboam. Remember, they had intermarriage relationship. Now, they had the same dad, they had same daddy, but oftentimes they didn't have the same mama. And it was allowed for them to marry across. And even Tamar and Amnon, they could have got married. All right, they could have got married, but the issue was, you remember when Tamar says, "Brother, don't do this. If you ask Daddy, he'll give you to me." But he went ahead and took her. So they were half brother and half sister. So here's the whole process here. We even see that kingly line is quote unquote preserved, and that happens still not as much in. At least not in West Virginia all the time, but I'm not just kidding. Okay, West Virginia people, but it's a part. You know, other countries they do this, cousins, and this is just the way things are done. So this is the process, and we just see it going out through the line. Very important. Any questions? All right, let's jump in deeper. 2 Samuel 14:28.
And Absalom dwelt 2 full years in Jerusalem, but did not see the king's face.
2 years living in Greensboro, and he doesn't see his daddy. 2 years, simply because his daddy does not want to see him. Don't come by my house. This is the king's verdict. You can come, you can live. Don't ride down my street. No, don't be sending pictures to my house, anything. You're back home in Jerusalem. You can hang out with your friends, but you can't come to my palace. This is banishment at home. And sometimes that can be worse than him being at Geshur. It was probably better for him to be in Geshur because it made sense. Distance kept him from seeing his dad. But now they're in the same area, and his dad said, "You still can't see." Big Lynn.
But to me, that had to be weighing real hard on David's heart, because he didn't do it himself, but he had this commander to kill you guys on the front line there, and now he got to look at his son committed murder too.
Right, you're right.
But that, I mean, you know, your conscience, boy, I tell you, there's something when they start balling.
You're right. So David probably is having flashbacks, but also Absalom is thinking, I can't even see my dad.
See my dad?
2 years, that bottles up.
Yeah.
That can mess with your mind. Amen? I mean, think of, your parents told you, don't come see me. Don't come see me, and you living right down the street, don't come see me. That can deal with you, Miss Adrian.
It truly happens today. Unfortunately, it's happening in my family. My father, they live next door to each other on our land, but they don't see each other. If one sees the other, he'll leave the area because it's that bad. So it's not just biblical times, this is still going on today.
And that builds up.
Oh, yeah.
causes all kinds of issues. And I'm actually setting a stage for Absalom's actions. Before I thought about this, just reading, I'm like, he's the worst person ever. And he is, he's got a lot of issues. But could David have had a hand in this? And you know, we're all responsible for our actions. But we got to be careful what we do to our kids.
Yes.
We got to be careful the pressure that we put on our kids. And we do. You know, I have an overachieving family. I just have to be careful with that we don't push them to breaking them or pushing them expectations so high that it really hurts them later on in the future. So this whole process, or on the vice versa, just be so easy with them that hurts them later on. We see Absalom, he's in between. He's blessed with beauty, handsomeness, hair, everything's in his way, going his way, except he can't see his dad.
When we first moved down on Chippendale there, we met this neighbor out there. And he was telling me about his next door neighbor. I can't understand. He said about 11 years they live beside and he won't speak to one another. But thanks be to God, his neighbor that lived next to him, after about 12 years, he joined the church. And he started speaking to people. He talked to my wife, speak to her when she walked by. But just go that many years, you live right beside somebody, you can't say good morning to them. That's something.
You're right.
But
You're right.
just to be a father and son, I guess that's even terrible.
I think we all have family members that it may not be as strange as this, that David literally said, "Don't come see me." Sometimes we just don't connect. And we have cell phones and don't even send a text message or anything. We just, I don't know, family somehow, and that's why I pray for my family. You know, as everybody grows up, I want us to be close knit. I envy Wilma, I think, in a little bit. I think they're close, even though her family is back in Idaho. Even though, I'm sorry, Wilma. But that connection, that whole connection of family, even though you're far away, you still want to be with them. You still long. You still talk with them on a weekly basis, every day or every day. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Everybody doesn't have that. Everybody doesn't have that. Their families don't want to talk. They don't want to connect. So look at Absalom. 2 years.
2 years.
He let it go on for 2 years, 24 months, day in and day out, walking around Jerusalem. We're going to find out what he's doing. Can't talk to his dad. Dad doesn't come back. No chariot drops, no mail, no how you doing, how the kids, nothing. Someone read 29.
Therefore Absalom sent for Joab to send him to the king, but he would not come to him. And when he sent again the second time, he would not come.
I want us to examine this. I want you to think about it. The question on the next page says, why do you feel Joab would not come? Also, why does he ask Joab?
That was David's commander.
That was his commander?
He was so faithful to David. I think he was afraid of David.
Okay,
Of
all right,
what might happen.
all right. Still, why Joab? Bianca?
Joab is the one that got him home in the first place.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes, those that were here Sunday night, we dealt with that. Joab was the one who got him home in the first place.
Right.
Joab was the one that interceded. So now we can go back. Why did Joab do that in the first place? Did Absalom ask him? No. This seems, you're like, this was a ploy of the commander all along to get Absalom back into Jerusalem, not just for David's issue, but there seems to be underlining stuff that's going on. Don't forget that. So now Absalom, he's like, okay, Joab, you brought me home. Daddy won't even see me. Well, you need to come over because we need to talk. Look at this. Sent for Joab, sent to the king, but he would not come. And when he sent again a second time, he would not come. Now, why he just didn't go over there himself, I don't know. maybe Joab, sometimes the palace extension, Joab would actually stay in the same place as King David, so Absalom was not allowed to go into the palace. That's one perspective, but for whatever reason, Absalom could not get to Joab. All he could do was send messages to Joab. Notice, Absalom did not send the message to who? His daddy.
Yeah. Okay.
There was no prohibition for him to send a message. It was that you couldn't see my face.
Right.
But he does not send the message directly to his daddy. He sends it through Joab. This is key. Don't forget that. That's going to play a little later on. Yes, ma'am.
But I think when someone says, I don't want to see your face, that kind of shuts you down. You know, that's, to me, that would be, well, you don't want any part, you don't want to communicate with me, you don't want any part of my life, and so I need to stay away from you and not communicate at all.
Okay, all right. Maybe that was
Like
his
a reject.
feeling in his heart.
Yeah.
You feel rejected. And we're gonna, and I think that's a part of it,
Yeah.
but we're gonna see something else in Absalom too. Over these 2 years, actually it's been longer. We're gonna deal with the years, but at least 2 years back into place. This stuff has been bottling up on the inside of him. Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, Absalom got some stuff he didn't want to tell David that it was boiling up in him towards his son, Absalom.
Correct.
But, you know, like you said, it's the only way to come out.
Get rid of it. And this is a side note. If you got stuff against somebody,
Yes.
just,
Yeah.
even if they don't want to see you, at least send them a text message, call, you know, you can do it, put it on a little thing, cycle it once a month. Just reach out and it'll be on them. It won't be on you. But don't let that stuff ball up on the inside of you because it'll drive you crazy. It will. And some of you had experiences. I was thinking about Wendy, some of her family issues and stuff. And I commend them for reaching out. Hey, we got to press through this. We got to move on because this stuff will eat you up. And we see Absalom. He's getting eaten up by this. Yes, sir.
During my 36.5 years, I worked at John H. Hall. And I was just surprised of some family when you hear husband and wife said they hadn't spoke over a month. I mean, how in the world could you just go in the house before your kids, you know, and you don't speak to one another? I mean, how could this be? But if you don't let God abide in your heart, I guess it's easy.
It is. It is so true. Look at this next verse. Someone read. 14:30.
So he said to his servant, see Joab's field near mine, and he has barley there. Go and set it on fire. And Absalom's servant set the field on fire.
What does this tell us about the character of Absalom?
You do me wrong, I'm gonna do me.
Yes.
You don't do what I say, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you back. Somehow.
Absalom, he seems to be spoiled, very controlling. We know he's a murderer, he's capable of murder. We know that he's a schemer because the murder of Amnon did not take immediately. He planned that murder out. It was premeditated murder. That was first degree murder. You know, he had the brothers come, you know, he had the whole food, I'm gonna feed everybody and and then that's when he killed him. He killed his brother. So this whole process here, he's a schemer, very intelligent, thoughtful on this. It takes him a long time. And I think in this 2 years plus, he's been thinking, okay, if this doesn't change, this is what I'm going to do. Absalom is one person you don't want to mess with, all right? Simply because he looks so good. He's handsome,
Plus he cute.
smells good, he's cute. But his heart is not where it should be at all. So look at this whole process. He says, Joab, all right, you're not going to come to me 2 times. I gave you 2 times. So servants, what I want you to do, his property is right next. Look at this. So Joab's field is near mine, and he has barley there. Go set it on fire. It's crazy. That's like crazy. I mean, I'm sorry. I got some family members. I just can't imagine just going over here and just burning up the grass. It's like, wow, you don't want to go to my house? And I just, they wake up in the morning and the whole front yard is black. I'm just like, this is ugly. This is just mean. This is just mean, but It does, and barley at that time, that was a cash crop.
Yes.
This was taking money from him. It was bigger than just grass. It was more than aesthetics. This was his money. It was burning up money. Joab, he earned money in other ways than just being a warrior. His barley is burnt up. And Absalom's servants did this. Now, the basic thing, they get over there, they just set it on fire, and they don't get caught. All right? Now, look at this next part. Any questions, comments? 2 Samuel 14:31, someone read.
Then Joab arose and came to Absalom's house, and said to him, Why have the soldiers set my field on fire?
Can you see him like, what? I don't think they put all the words here in the scripture, but I mean, he like, for real? He probably like, okay, maybe it was just like a mistake, maybe, I don't know what, but these were your servants, everybody knows. Why did they set my field on fire? All right, very important. 2 Samuel 14:32, someone read.
And Absalom answered Joab, Look, I sent to you saying, Come here, so that I may send you to the king to say, Why have I come from Gershom? It would be better for me to be there still. Now therefore, let me see the king's face. But if there is iniquity in me, let him execute.
What do you believe Absalom has been going through? Anybody?
He couldn't figure out why he couldn't see his dad's face.
All right, couldn't figure out why, because his dad's face?
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't believe that he brought him there and then, you know.
Okay.
Turn his back on him.
Turn his back on? What else?
What I said earlier, he'd have been better off to just stay where he was.
All right. Anything else?
But I think he was also very immature
Okay. All right.
or selfish.
Okay. Selfish. Bianca?
I think he's thinking, am I really forgiven or not? If I'm forgiven, then I'm all the way forgiven. If I'm not forgiven, I'm not forgiven. So just go ahead with whatever punishment I'm supposed to have. But if you forgave me, you should forgive me all the way.
Okay. Sarah?
It's like when you do something wrong, so your parents send you to your room to decide your punishment, and they just like leave you in there. And you're just like, are you gonna give me a punishment, or you just gonna leave me?
Too fast.
No, I think she's talking about the letter.
Philip said, weeks.
Marvin
I
did.
think that really that he might be thinking back to the first thing that with his sister. Now they didn't do anything.
Right.
And he really, he should have done something. I mean, if he had done something, all this wouldn't have happened. I mean, really, it would not have happened. And he's thinking, my dad is letting me come, now he won't let me see his face and everything, and all this is building up in it.
Yeah.
And he's saying, really, he's really hostile toward the whole situation there, when his dad couldn't stop the whole thing.
We do see a lot of David in these last years not being concise, not making decisions, just kind of hoping it'll go away. And he did that with Tamar. He just didn't make any decisions. And so maybe Absalom was thinking, since you didn't do it, I'm going to take care of it. And he did. But it still did not let David off the hook. And now David is adding to insult because he won't let his son come see him. Philip.
And it seems that Joab was trying to do something too. Because if it is correct, then he only came over and said, why did you burn the crop? It's more like he's trying to get Absalom either to become the next king, like everyone else wants, easily. But he knows Absalom has gone away and he deserves death. So it's like, hey, David, can we bring Absalom back? Hey, David, can you still see your son? And he's waiting until Absalom kind of forces David to forgive him. Or he's just waiting for Absalom to do something that forces David just to let him be king.
And keep that thought, because that's very important.
Yes.
Yes.
I see that David's thing was spare the rod, you pay for it later. And David's commander, he's got some stuff down there that I don't think he's all that much love with Absalom.
All right, so I want you to begin to examine the intentions of Joab because he's going to come up. All right, Joab is that character. We're kind of like, Okay, he's loyal to David,
Wishy-washy.
but does he have something else that's going on? That's gonna be important. Simply the way he comes over, okay, why did your servants do it? He's playing both sides very well. But look at that last part of that scripture and that 14:32. Absalom says, now therefore let me see the king's face. But this is heavy because I think we can even see more of his heart. But if there is iniquity in me, let him execute me. That's a big statement. Because guess what? The king can do it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The king can have him executed. And so he's saying, if you've forgiven me, as Bianca said, if you let me off the hook, okay, everything should be good. But if there's still sin, go ahead and kill me. Now, I don't know if he's true meaning this. I kind of think he is in a sense, or maybe he's just pulling a card just to press David. Press David to see if he's going to make a move. And David hasn't made moves. And so they're pushing him more and more. David makes some moves. And now Absalom, this is not a haphazard move. We know Absalom is scheming. We know Absalom is smart. He's intelligent, just like his daddy. Right? He did it with Bathsheba. He got the woman. Don't forget that. What'd you say?
I said, at what cost?
At what cost? Remember that. There's always a cost to our schemes. Always a cost. Look at that next verse, 2 Samuel 14:33.
So Joab went to the king and told him, and when he had called for Absalom, he came to the king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king. Then the king kissed Absalom.
2 years. All it took was a burn of a barley field. So it does beg the question, why'd you wait so long?
Barley field, come on.
Why'd you wait? I think this is a part of the text. There's a tension in the text that we gotta ask ourselves. Absalom, why'd you wait 2 years? Why didn't you just do it in 6 months? What's going on? There are other things that are going on that we don't see here, but 2 years, because now we see Joab goes to the king and told him. Couldn't have Joab known a year ago? Right? I mean, he got him back into that. Why 2 years? Keep that in your mind. He called for Absalom, came to the king, bowed himself before his daddy, and what did King David do?
Kissed him.
But the question I want to ask, is he afraid of his son now that he sees how far he can go?
I don't know. All we do know is that David is very indecisive, and he kisses him, which says everything's okay. Everything's
On the
okay.
outside.
But Judas kissed Jesus too.
On the outside. Okay, on the outside.
All right. So remember, we have this picture, beauty on the outside of Absalom. But right now, he's the devil. He's so ugly on the inside. Go ahead, whoever's reading that, read that first part of the commentary.
It had been 7 years since Tamar had been raped, and 5 years since the murder of Amnon. 5 years, for 5 years, Absalom had not seen his father.
5 years. So we got the 2 years back to Jerusalem, and we got the exile, that 3 years that he was in Geshur, away, that whole process, 5 years. And seeing his daddy. And for the first time in 5 years, he sees him. David kiss. Oh, what a touching reunion. What a touching reunion. But there's the elephants in the room. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, and it was like, well, I'm okay with elephants being in the room. I said, the problem is with elephants in the room, they get bigger. But your room doesn't expand. And so the bigger the elephant gets, eventually it's going to suffocate you.
And they hurt people.
They hurt people. Amen. I mean, some people are like, I don't care about elephants. Just keep it, but they're growing. Bianca.
I think too, David is starting to be more concerned about people. And he may have been waiting to see how many people remember everything that Absalom did and how many people still care about what Absalom did. And because he's so good looking, You know, people tend to forget about stuff if you look
Outside,
good
yeah,
enough.
outside.
So David may have just been kind of feeling, you know, if I bring him back and people are mad at me, then that's one thing. But if I bring him back and everybody's okay with it, then that means I can be okay with it, and we can all be happy. So maybe you're just testing the water.
So true. I've seen it in a court system. If you look handsome or beautiful, you get a lesser sentence. It's been proven scientifically. I don't know, juries have a hard time convicting a good-looking man or a good-looking woman. That's why they always dress you up, try to make you look as best they can. Because they have a hard time. You looking at that person, you go, they look so good. They could have never done something like that. It does. It conflicts with everything that's on the inside of you. And we're going to see that his beauty, his handsomeness, actually enhances this treachery. It does. Look at this next part. Go ahead, Will.
Though David had forgiven him and brought him back to Jerusalem instead of executing him, he had refused to forget what had happened.
And we sense that. But should he forget? I mean, it's Old Testament. I mean, his son was killed. Amnon was killed, even though he had issues. There's another son that was killed by Absalom. That's not easily forgotten. You know, God forbid, I hope it never happens, if Benjamin took, you know, Philip out, and they had a little argument today over headphones, and, you know, Philip was like, you know what, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of Benjamin. It's like, get the headphones. I mean, I was just like, really? That would be hard, you know, and, you know, Philip served his time and then he come back home. It's like, what was wrong with you? You know, I mean, just let me just forget. I mean, I'm trying to make it real for you. David still is a daddy, and he cared about Amnon, his other child, who we'll see no more in a sense. And so it's hard to just forget this.
I look at too, you know, sometimes when these things happen, even though God forgive us, but like they told David, the sword never leave you home. But we got these things here that it's a punishment that for what you did wrong, even though God forgave David, and so he might forgive Absalom too. Right. But those two were, I mean, this like is something that you can't get over with between his father and son.
You're right. You're right. It's the
So
elephant of the room.
you have to pay some of the things he did.
You do. Whatsoever man soweth, actually also. And some of you have, I mean, forgiveness. And forgiveness is forgiveness. But there's still stuff.
Yes, Lord.
You let go. I mean, and I deal with that. I think forgiveness is you let things go, but you still, it doesn't erase what happened in your mind. Am I wrong? I mean, you pray to God, God help me forgive me, release. You have peace and stuff, but you don't necessarily forget.
No.
It comes back.
I mean, because it still happened.
Just like a recorder.
Marcus.
My dad told me, I was over there at the house Monday. I was over there, I think it was last Friday. And so, you know, so we're talking all about stuff, family, and about, you know, God's blessing. And he said, Mark, listen, your son, I'm sorry, but if you ever mess up, do something bad with Angie or do something crazy or whatever, he goes, you know, but you've been raised right. He said, if you ever go wrong, he said, look, your mom and I can't do nothing for you. He said, don't come back home. He said, because you must have read this chapter. He said, because you know what's right or wrong. He's like, you know better. God blessed you, raised you up, this. He goes, so, don't even drive. Break you off. Mom said, son, you know, that's your dad. Talking about
He was thinking about his dad. My dad had that thing going, son, you make your bed hard where you gonna sleep. So, but you make be sure you do the right thing that he'll go.
Your sins will find you out.
Yes, sir. You don't have to be the one sleep on your bed.
You're right. Well, yeah, Jan.
But I was just agreeing with Marcus. I mean, my mom was pretty much saying the same thing, but at the end of hers was, you know, well, I got 13 of them.
Wow.
I got to try to get them through.
Right.
You know, he said, if you were raised right, you go out and you do something crazy or whatever else like that. And then I can't do nothing but keep loving you, but that's all I
Far
can
away.
give. That's it. Yeah.
Look at this next part, because I want us to deal, go ahead, one more, but when the 2 men.
Oh, okay. But when the 2 men finally met, Absalom received a complete pardon.
Now, this is key. We dealt with this, and I wanted to kind of reiterate it. Just because you get a complete pardon does not excuse what you did in the past.
The elephant,
Kinda.
still there.
Cause see, you know, like the governor gives pardons,
President.
but what they've done in the past is still done, right?
Yes.
Right. So what you're saying is you're excusing the judgment on that, but you're not erasing what was done. You just felt there's been enough time in between it that we can move on with our lives, and that is key. Some people think a complete pardon means that you erase what's been done. That's just not true. That's not true. I wish I could erase some things that were done. I wish I could, you know, just all of a sudden not just forget and just put a clean slate. And it's just not like that. And God hasn't created us to just forget. If we did, once you put your hand on a hot stove, you remember that, right? You remember that. Thank God for memory. So this whole process here, he's pardoned, but someone's still dead. All right, there's still issues that are going on. Go ahead, one with that last part.
Joab's actions and all this seemed designed to obtain David's favor, and also the favor of Absalom, who was next in line as king.
This is where we want you to kind of circle. Keep this, put your notes, because when we go through this section here, we're going to be dealing with this fact, Joab's actions. Joab's action. He got the widow, well, the play actor widow, all of that, that was Joab's action. Yeah, Absalom back in the city, that was Joab's action. Joab come over my house twice, but he didn't come. Barley's bird, Joab came. Joab goes to David. David says, okay, bring him in. Joab's in the back. All right, so this whole process. Remember, even when that lady was play acting, Joab was somewhere over in the hallway. I'm telling you, keep your eyes on Joab, okay? Keep your eyes on Joab. Very, very important. I think Joab is smarter than Absalom and David. I truly do. I truly do. Now let's go to this next section, Absalom's revolt and David's flight. This is a heartbreaking situation, but it's been built up. Sin, it will germinate and it will cause all kind of havoc. So now we see this hurt, whether David's fault, Absalom's fault, it's been growing in his heart, and it has to come out in some way. You would think, okay, Absalom and David back together. Everything's good. But no, once something started to germinate, unless it's dealt with the right way, it's still there. A kiss was not enough. A kiss for David after 5 years was not enough. All right, and that's the concern. And some of you, I've got some family members dealing with that. Just a sorry ain't enough. I had that. Bianca and I fell out 25 years ago. And see y'all looking at it. I said, I'm sorry, Bianca. I'm sorry. She's like, Wendy, you wasn't gonna learn out there. Sorry. I'm sorry, that ain't enough. You gotta put a ring on it. It's just this whole process. You can say just a kiss, that's not enough. Have you really taken this to heart? Absalom does not believe his father has really made a change. Yes, ma'am.
You know, sometimes those things that are festering, you don't even realize. You think in your mind that you dealt with stuff. And, you know, you can go years down the road and those things come back up. You think, I thought that was over, but they can come back up.
You're right. You're right. It's there.
Cinco's mother had been gone for 10 years. And when she called me, she started the conversation like we had just had lunch yesterday. And it just, it made me mad. How dare you? I mean, she just went into a conversation like, oh, I bought a pair of shoes yesterday. So then I'm thinking to myself, do you know the hurt and the turmoil and the, so I told her I needed to talk to her much later. Because right then, I was like, David, I can't see you right now. I can't see you, so in 2 years.
And
I'll see if it'll
from
work.
Absalom's side, maybe he's feeling the same thing.
Yeah,
It's been 5 years, and all you can do is kiss me?
yeah.
Boy, I tell you.
5 years.
Mhm.
And
He's such a joke.
this is all that's going on, B.
But I think too, as we'll talk about later, Absalom wanted to be king, and he was the firstborn.
Yes.
He was supposed to be king, but I don't think David had any intention of making him king. And I think this is Absalom's whole thing. If you've forgiven me, then everything's back to the way it's supposed to be, including me being next in line. But David's like, no, I mean, I forgive you and everything, but you don't get the king. It's not part of the deal.
But remember the whole thing. Who is going to be the next king?
So,
Never forget. So this is whole, because without Solomon being next king, we wouldn't get Ecclesiastes and Proverbs. I read Proverbs every day. So we got to have Solomon to be king. This is God's plan. So in spite of all this treachery that's going on, God is still in control. Never forget that.
Joab, to me, he's got a plan, though. He's done this all now, correct?
It is. It's a plan. Look at this next verse. I get on hands. 2 Samuel 15:1.
After this, it happened that Absalom provided himself with chariots and horses and 50 men to run before him.
So he's got daddy's kiss. It's like the next day.
I'm acting like I'm a king.
I'm serious. It's like the next day. Look at this. Up to this point, Absalom had concealed his desire to be king. But now he traveled about with an impressive entourage. So, Bianca brings out a point. Maybe he had been thinking about this kingship all the time. Or maybe at that point, it just clicked. I don't like him. I don't like David. I don't like him as my king. I want to be king. We don't know. Maybe it was a long-term thing. Maybe this was a plan. We already know Joab has a plan. Maybe Joab was in it. Maybe Joab and Absalom was talking. We just don't know at this point within the scriptures, but we see stuff is going on. But now it's abrasive. All of a sudden, Absalom bling. He blings it out. Look at this. He provided himself chariots. He got several Escalades. Not just one Escalade. He got chariots and horses. Horses to pull those around. And he had how many men? 50 people.
They were running before.
50 people. People pick on preachers that have, armor bearers and everything like that. But if I came up with 50 more, y'all be like, dog. 50 everywhere he went. Every time he was out. 50 people. 50 men run before him. Absalom. He is rolling large. But what is David doing? You notice how to get back. Hey, David, ring. We just saw Absalom the son rolling 3 Escalades, horses, and 50 men. You need to do something. That is. This is King David. Look at it.
He's never disciplined him, so in his mind, now that he's gotten the kiss, okay, I can really do what I want to do.
He is exploding, all right? Look at this next verse, 15:2. Someone read.
Now Absalom would rise early and stand beside the way to the gate. So it was, whenever anyone who had a lawsuit came to the king for a decision, that Absalom would call to him and say, "What city are you from?" and he would say, your servant is from such and such a tribe of Israel.
What's Absalom doing?
Campaign.
He's campaigning. He's got his 50 men, he's got his horses, he's got his chariots, and every day he rises up early. Sounds like the campaign trail. Really, he rises up early. He would stand by the way to the gate. He would get to, North Carolina, Florida.
You gonna faint?
Go there.
When you
He would get there, get to know the people. Whenever the people would come by, a lawsuit came for the king's decision. All right, the king was David. But whenever they would come in, they needed to talk to King Absalom would be, he would call and say, what city are you from? Kind of talking, getting up. He looked good. He probably had his hair real good that day. Everything smelling. And it would speak and he would become close to them. All right. We see this politician, but more importantly, he's after the kingship. I put before, I want you to stay here, which is the last verse we're going to deal with today, because we're really going to get deep on it next time. We're going to dig into some scriptures. But I put before you, maybe he doesn't want the kingship just for the kingship's sake, but maybe he wants the kingship to get back at his dad.
That's it.
It's bigger than just being king, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's what can I take away from him that will hurt him as bad as I've been hurt these 5 years. Any other comments? All right, study ahead. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much. You're awesome for these scriptures in Jesus' name. Deacon Lady, back in your hands. I know, I'm praying. We're praying for you. Don't worry about it. Come on to your feet.
We need all the prayer we can get.
Yes, right.
Yeah, you're gonna come around.